we can pull it and it's not going to go anyplace. But to make sure it stays there, you can do either what we call a half hitch, which ties it on that way, or you can just take this and either do a couple more figure eights, or just wrap it around this way. So you have a choice of basically three things, and that's going to keep your boat at the dock. And you can do it on both sides, or a lot of times you'll see the line on your boat will have the loop like this. But you really want to make sure that you've done the full round turn as well as your figure eights. And then what you decide to do here is whether you're going to do more. If you're ex-Coast Guard, their philosophy is if you don't know how to tie a knot, tie a lot. So you just keep piling them on. So that's one of your primary ones. Another one that you want to look at is putting out fenders or bumpers so that when you bring your boat to the dock that you're not smashing in and affecting the fiberglass, because not every dock has got the what we call rub rails around it. So you want to put a fender on it. Now, basically, Roger's going to be a fender. Roger's a fender. So we have a fender. This is the side of the boat, and this is the railing. We're going to do what's called a clove hitch. You're going to bring the line over. You're going to crisscross it on this side and put your line through it. So it looks like this. It's easily adjustable so that if we had to raise the fender, I can go here. If I had to lower the fender, I can go here. Now, if I'm going to leave the boat for a while, this could potentially, as the seas go up and down, start loosening and coming out. And the next thing you know, your fender's floating off into the Gulf of Mexico. So all you need to do is come around and do a half hitch. Now it's not going to go anyplace.
You did say fender, not a fence,
A fender,
right? Okay.
like Freddie Fender in the guitar. If anybody's old enough to remember that. Yes, Bob?
What if I have, most of the ropes and lines we have on our boats have a loopy end and a free end. So which end do I keep on the boat? Is there a preference?
It depends. As an example, if we go back to the cleat that we were talking about, if you left this and used this on the dock, the problem is it could potentially pop off. Whereas if you put it on your boat, especially, well, this one we may be able to fit it through. And that's called going
That
for the
will
log
come
set.
off.
That'll stay there. But if you want to get away quickly, it's not a real easy way to do it.
It's called a what?
Lark's head,
Lark's head.
like the bird with the head. So, and that depends on your cleat. A lot of people don't have cleats with the holes down there. The main idea is to get the weight and the heaviness of the boat around this base. That's why I said before we make a full round turn. So it really depends what you're doing. If you do something like if you're helping as a Good Samaritan or as a crew member and you're going to tow somebody, you want to give them the loopy end because they don't know enough how to tie a cleat. So the last thing you want to do is try to pull their boat in a tow when it's going to pop off because they don't know how to tie a cleat properly. So you take that away from them by just telling them, lay it on here, and we'll tie it on our boat because we know what we're doing now.
Right.
So, in answer to your question, it varies and it depends on the circumstances. The king of knots, as it's nicknamed, is the bowline. Problem with me demonstrating the bowline to you is I'm a lefty. I don't know how to tie it as a right-handed person, so we'll do it as a lefty, okay? You want to do is you want to get this, anybody here who's a Boy Scout or was a Boy Scout or Girl Scout? You were a Boy Scout. So most of the Boy Scouts do, the rabbit goes into the hole, goes behind the tree, and goes back in the hole, and you got a bowl. Okay, this is not going to go away. This, you can use it for anything, including, to answer Bob's question, if this was thinner, we could use this even for that same lark's head. We can tie two lines together this way. We can do all kinds of things. If we had to, you could tie it around your waist and be hoisted up and rescued. What's neat about it, unlike a noose, this thing will not tighten. It'll stay whatever size that you built it for.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Uh,
Very good knot. And here's two different size knots. Lines.
Okay. When we do in reality, when we're out on patrol, as an example, if Bob's out or if you're going to be out on your new boat now, one of the things we train for is a lot of times we're going to tow people who are in trouble. I mean, that's what we yearn to do. As a matter of fact, Station St. even rewards us for it. Well, our tow lines are kind of heavy. And to get the tow line over to the boat that's disabled, very often it's so heavy that you've got to be this close to it. And it's dangerous to get that close to the other boat. So instead what we do is we use what's called a heaving line or a messenger line, where it's a lighter line, usually it has a ball on the end of it or some other gentle weight, and we'll attach that to our tow line and let us throw the whole thing. So assuming this is, the lines aren't the right sizes for it, but we can do it anyway. Assume this is our tow line, and usually our tow line has a bowline in it or has a bowline in it or a splice. I don't know what that is. So now this is the tow line that we want to send over so that they can put on their cleat so we can tow them. But since it's so heavy, we can't get it over, we're going to use, may I take somebody's line in there? We're going to take this messenger line and we're going to tie what's called a Beckett bend. Okay? And that's real easy too. We come in through the back, we go around the back, we hook it here, and we have what's called a Beckett bend. Now, this was the messenger line. Normally they're much different in size. I can take this light line, I can send it all the way over. I was hoping to catch it. And then send it over to Jim on the other boat. He can now take it, we'll feed it out to him, and he can lay that right over his cleat.
And that Beckett bend is also known as a sheet bend?
Right.
Okay. And I know the bowline
Thank you.
is also, there's another name for the bowline, is there not?
King of knots.
King of knots. Okay.
That's just because it can be used to just about everything. There's a whole pile of other knots, but I don't think you need a whole night's lesson on knots.
So that's, what I wanted to demonstrate was some basic knots that you'll be learning as you become boat crew or coxswain. And these particular knots are the bulk of what we know in knots. So there really isn't a whole lot more. Maybe another half dozen.
One of the things I am working with Station Sankey on is to try to schedule sometime this year a class on splicing. Because most of their bosun's mates at the station have to know how to splice. And I can teach 3-strand. That's not so difficult. I want them to teach us the double braided line.
Yes.
And back in my old days, when I was initially a coxswain, we had to actually do that, demonstrate doing the double braided. But then you can make all your own lines and your own loops. So I'm working on that, just to be open to everybody who wants to come down to the station and learn how to do it.
Fantastic. Very good. Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you.